Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at a couple of upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an area of the race that we might look back on later as having been a path to finding the winner. Well, Saturday racing this week in Hong Kong. The first race we're going to take a look at is race 5, our winning factor, the sectionals. Well, quite a nice Class 2 race here with, I think, the three strongest hopes standing out. Super Wealthy, Zac Purton with a relatively rare ride for Douglas White, a Guy Dragon for the Founds Marrera combination, and a lightly handicapped Roman Turbo, yet to win in Hong Kong, but racing very well. And although I think Roman Turbo might be the third choice out of those three, he does offer us a bridge to the other two horses, as he has run third in races against both of them recently. So we're going to take a look at those replays. First of all, we're going to go back to race 392 on January 31. And this is Guy Dragon running second to Beauty Applause with Roman Turbo third. Guy Dragon, the grey in green and white colours, outpaced to the rear in the early stages, while we see Roman Turbo in pink and blue colours, three wide but with some cover handy behind the pacemakers. And you see on the heat map here, this is a race run to suit the leaders. Quite slow early and then quickening from the 800 metres, and we see Guy Dragon able to get home strongly over the final stages into second, running the best final 400 metres of the entire meeting. Then we saw once again Roman Turbo finishing third, this time in a race behind Wellington. So we're going to take a look at that now. This is February 14, race 429, and Super Wealthy out the back in pink and white colours here. And once again you can see on the heat map a similarly run race, not quite as slow early, but a sprint from the top of the straight separating out the result. So it wasn't easy to make up ground, but Super Wealthy, like Guy Dragon in the other video, he's out the back, then sprints home very hard to post the best final 400 metres of that meeting in his defeat. Now their raw times are reasonably similar. In fact, you'd have to lean to Guy Dragon off the raw times, but he did carry 9 pounds less. And in my view, the track was also running a little bit quicker the day that he ran, and that gave his times a bit of a boost by comparison with Super Wealthy. So we have two horses looking to finish the race off strongly. So let's take a look at the map and see how well suited they are. We have a couple of regulation leaders here, Team Spirit and Highly Proactive, and they led together in another race recently, won by Highly Proactive. But they did keep each other quite honest in the front running, not really letting the tempo drop too sharply. So I think that's going to help both of our horses. And you saw on the map there too, they're going to race probably in similar positions in the field. So not a great deal between them, but I do have to lean one way, and that way is Super Wealthy. So the tip, race 5, Super Wealthy, his winning factor is the sectionals. The thing about Super Wealthy that I like is over Guy Dragon is that we haven't seen that much of him. He promised a lot, then he ran into some health troubles towards the end of last season. But as you can see from that performance there, he's back, he's cooking with gas, and I think he might have the edge over Guy Dragon. The other race I want to take a look at is race 10, and our winning factor here, the map. And once again, I think this Class 3 is going to come down to the fortunes of three runners in particular. The informed Tempest Express from the John Size Yard, he's looking for 3 straight wins. Romantic Combo at the foot of the weights for Joel Marrera, and a recent stable change runner, moving to Casper Founds Serious Liaison. And regulars of this show will know that I love the stable change as a winning factor, and Casper Founds, one of our better performers with stable change horses. And I thought we'd take a look once again, we haven't done it for a while, we'll take a look back in at the stable change trainers And this table here shows the top 10 by strike rate with stable transfers since September 2015. Probably what you notice first of all is that 3 of the top 5 trainers are Douglas White, Jimmy Ting and Frankie Law, all trainers who have only just started training in the last 3 or 4 years. So a very high proportion of their runners and winners have naturally been transfers. That becomes harder to sustain as their careers develop and lengthen. But in Danny Schum and Casper Founds, you see 2 trainers, they started on the same day back in 2003, both won on their first meeting with a stable transfer, and they've been good yards to follow with stable transfers ever since. And Founds' recent acquisition here, Serious Liaison, well, he is certainly going to command a lot more attention than you might think he deserves, looking at his 6 starts in Hong Kong, finishing well back in all of them. But I think as much as anything, the stable change to Founds and a lift in distance for a horse whose best form in Australia was at 1600 metres will put plenty of eyes on Serious Liaison. So I thought I'd show you his most recent offering under his previous trainer David Hall. So this is race 373, and he's in mauve colours with a pink cap at the rear of the field, a white face, and you won't see a whole lot of him, but he makes some good ground coming from last in the stretch, even if he didn't have a totally clear path between runners. And you see on the heat map, it was the hardest part of the race to make up ground in a race that was really a sharp sprint home from the top of the straight. Now I could show you any of Serious Liaison's 6 starts in Hong Kong, and they would probably tell much the same story. Out the back, running on at 1200 metres, looking for a bit further, and I think that is one of the key points for him here. But in Romantic Combo, we have a horse which I highlighted on this show last month, and he'd had a series of wide gates to contend with. He finally drew an inside barrier, and now we're going to have a look at what happened when he got one. And this is race 411, white and green colours drawn inside. You see him mess up the start. He's several lengths behind the field once they get running. And although on the heat map you can see quite a slow first half for this race, and that allowed him to make up some ground quickly. That was extra energy that he was using, but it wasn't being used by the 2 horses who beat him home on that day, who are 1-2 in running. When it came time to accelerate down the final stretch, Romantic Combo wasn't able to match it with them. Now since then, Romantic Combo has been sent back to the barrier trials, and he jumped beautifully with the field. So I think when we take a look at the map for Saturday's race, we have to look at him thinking that he's going to jump well this time. And that's going to be a really important part of this race. You can see here, once again, an inside draw. His major rivals, Tempest Express and Serious Liaison, both have slightly wider gates and have to deal with that in what looks a race without a whole lot of speed, while with a better performance of the gate this time, Romantic Combo should get all the favours. So the tip in race 10, Romantic Combo. His winning factor, the map. Now his winning factor could have been called the do-over, since Joe Moreira's on again. He is an inside drawer again, and he gets to try and do what he was supposed to do last time. So hopefully he will this time. And I think when you look at the map, his 2 most serious rivals have a little bit to do, and Romantic Combo should be in the perfect position. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Enjoy your racing Saturday. We'll see you next time.